G'day everyone, Uncle Jojo here. Great to see you all again. Today I've been invited in by Robert Brodie. He's got me into his workshop and he's going to show me through a few bits and pieces. If you don't know Rob Brodie, he is a legend in the carpentry industry. He is a man that is hands-on and he takes top quality build to a whole new level. G'day Rob.
There you go, Joe.
Thanks heaps
Nice
for having me,
Thanks
mate.
for
Really appreciate it. So, let's go through a few bits and pieces and let's talk through the carpentry industry. Is that all right?
Yeah, not a problem.
Great. So, you've handmade this?
No, I haven't made this one. This is a plane that was given to me for my 40th birthday.
That is
it's
amazing.
A wooden block plane, but I've made a number of copies for friends for presents actually. And at the moment, I'm involved with some students from a school in Canada, and they're making a copy of that.
Are they really?
And I'm doing video footage of me making one of those, and then they're sort of emulating it.
Talking about Canada, you've given the opportunity by something of the federal government to go overseas and to study the way that they train not their apprentices, but the next level of tradesmen. Is that right?
Both apprenticeship training and training in general.
Okay.
Yeah. So the fellowship that I got was funded by the Higher Education and Skills Group.
Fantastic.
Which is the group that funds training in Victoria.
Now, I'm a firm believer in your apprenticeship is like your ABC. You just learn your alphabet.
Absolutely.
And then after you finish your apprenticeship, that's actually when the real training starts to come into it.
Oh, I definitely agree. Look, the old blokes that trained me when I was an apprenticeship used to have a saying: you do your apprenticeship, then you learn your trade.
Yeah, right.
And so what they were saying, that's what they were saying is that you learned all the skills during the time of your apprenticeship, then you had to learn about the trade,
right?
You know, and apply it to your trade afterwards.
Yeah. Just to touch on that, you started your apprenticeship on boats. You actually started boat building.
So I wasn't building boats per se. I did my apprenticeship at the Naval Dockyard, Williamstown, and we were fitting out. So they were building naval vessels in Victoria at the time, and my job, I was actually what's called a ship's joiner.
Right.
So we were making the furniture and all the fitments for the ships at the time, and that included fitting them out. So we used to actually make timber frames to follow the shape of the hull.
Wow! So you had to curve it.
And then line them with various panellings, and then they were all the intersections were beaded with French polished Queensland maple.
Wow!
So it was quite a skilled.
And the captain's, obviously the captain's cabin in a boat is
best.
always top quality timber.
So it was all good quality timber, and as the officers, it was just went down in scale as until you got to sort of you were just the able seaman.
Yeah, right.
And then you just got metal.
Yeah.
But the officers, the wardroom, which was their recreation area, that was all high quality furniture, timber furniture. It was all either teak or Queensland maple. Yeah. My formal training for my school training for my apprenticeship was doing conventional carpentry, so villa work, for want of a better description. Right. And so I was probably dual qualified. By the time I'd finished, I'd sort of learnt all the joinery and all the high level skills in my day-to-day work. Yep. And then my trade school was all done learning how to cut roofs and do subfloors and all the rest of it, and build stairs and all the rest of it. So I just applied those skills from my day-to-day job into general building. The only thing I had to learn was to go a bit faster. Well, everything sort of was fine tolerance, and sort of those tolerances sort of people can't afford to pay for. Yeah, right. So we just had to sort of find the happy medium. Okay. I learned how to identify timbers down at the dockyard because we used lots of various pieces of timber. Yep. We used lots of varieties that were suitable, but also there was just a general interest. This was part of your job, and you should know how to be able to do it. So you see this piece of timber here, this is actually a level I started making about 35 years ago, and it's teak. And one day I'll get to finish it.
That's an old piece of teak. Look how dark that is. And have you got a bubble level for that?
Yeah, I've got one, and I just never got around to
finishing it
off. But that was something I started to make when I was a first year apprentice and never got around to finishing.
Yeah.
But it'll get done. So I was given a rough sawn piece of teak,
You're right.
and I was told to plane it flat, square and straight, and that was probably one of the first things I made.
Is that
as an
right?
apprentice, yeah. And hand dressed.
And did you bullnose that as well?
Yep.
All by hand?
Yep.
With a hand plane?
Just with a hand plane.
That's unreal. How important is it to buy top quality tools when you do your apprenticeship?
Well, I mean, I started my apprenticeship in 1980. I used to buy one tool a week. So this is about, well, it's over 30 years old. I'm not sure, you know, when I bought this exactly.
Okay. It's in tip-top condition still.
So, yeah, the handles have, you know, lost a bit of varnish on it and that, but it's, yeah, it's still, and I've got a number 6, a number 5, a 9.5, and yeah, so a little, little block plane.
Yeah.
Well, I was given that for my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
I love that plane. I think that's an essential tool for any sort of carpenter.
Yeah.
You can fit it in your nail bed.
Yep. Yep.
You can, you know, you went from doing a fix to weatherboards. You can always use
it. Now, so we've gone from boat building to being a builder, and now you've become a teacher.
Yeah, and I also did project managing and estimating in
sorry.
there too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and that was for a big company?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so you've had to progress with your education throughout that, yeah?
Correct.
Okay, and how has that helped you teach our up-and-coming, and how are our up-and-coming looking for the future of our industry?
I think it's important that you continually educate yourself, and we, you know, I was sort of given a strong ethic by my father when it comes to that when I was young. So he said to me, you know, prior to starting my apprenticeship, one day it won't be enough to be a tradesman, you will need to do more education. So when those opportunities come, take it. And it was good advice, and I did. And it became evident what good advice it was when I hurt my back and I was unable to work on the tools anymore.
Right.
And the education that I had given myself prior to that paid off.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right.
I was able to change the direction of which I was working in my career to suit the fact that I was injured.
Yep.
And that was very valuable.
Yeah.
So that's a message I tell my students these days, that you know, you don't know what's around the corner, and if you're not prepared for it, it could be tough. Yeah.
I know that you weren't taught it when you did your apprenticeship. I was never taught it. Mm-hmm. Would you be able to, or would you recommend teaching that to students now on how to pick things up or stuff like that?
I definitely. I mean, it from an OH&S perspective, it is, you know, materials handling is part of it, but I don't think it goes far enough because it doesn't go into the physiology of what happens. Right. I looked after my body reasonably well, but there was a period in my life where I needed to work really hard, and then that was the period that did the damage to my back, and subsequently I've had a disc removed. Yeah, right. And it's a long road to recovery, and a constant road to recovery too. A
lot of guys I speak to, around about the 20, 25 year mark, their bodies kind of just stop. You can't do, there's very few and far between where the old fellas just keep going and they keep trucking.
You don't see too many 50-year-old framers.
No. There's a lot of building now is subcontracted out. And you'd be seeing a lot of that now where you don't actually have to be a carpenter whatsoever. You can just be a builder by going and get your certificate for in construction.
Yeah.
What do you think about licensing carpenters so that we have a good, strong future for the industry?
I think that carpentry should be licensed. I don't think I don't see the reason why a plumber or an electrician has exclusivity over being licensed.
Yep.
When a carpenter is /the builder has to take responsibility for the entire building.
Yeah, right.
And so if you go onto any big commercial site, the supervisors and project managers are nearly all ex-carpenters.
Yeah, right.
They're the people that that bring it all together. Now, I think that they're entitled to have a licensing arrangement where their profession and their skills and their knowledge is protected and not open to it abuse by the general public.
Right, yeah.
Which I think is what happens these days. Everybody can just pick up a nail bag and just have a go, you know, and you know, we see it on the TV and all the rest of it, you know, how hard can it be? Yep. You know, piece of cake. The difficulty is administering something like that. Varies from state to state. I think it'll be a long process to get it right. Right, yeah. And because it starts at the training, and so we really need to create sort of a much more interest in the trade as a profession, and then we also need to create community admiration or credibility for the trade. So I think we're losing that. Once upon a time, a tradesman was a well-respected profession, and I don't think it is anymore. And I think that as a result of that, people are not looking at it as a viable option for careers, or they're sort of discouraged from going that way because it's maybe deemed as a second-rate career. And I don't believe that it is, but I see that occurring.
As a teacher, you see that?
I see that as a teacher. I see that as a father.
Okay.
You know, and being involved with schools and stuff like that. So that's something that I think the community need to change their view on tradespeople. No question that the TV, or the perception that the TV programs, the lifestyle programs, are creating, is having an effect on the general public's view of tradespeople and the building industry in general. They see a bathroom done in 72 hours and then say, well, you know, next weekend we're free, can we get a new bathroom? You know, it just doesn't work that way. You know, and there are, you know, strict guidelines that have to be adhered to get a good result, to take, you know, to create a much longer timeline, and they're not adhering those. It gives a false impression, and then false expectations from the public.
Well, we're getting a lot of overseas products as well, and a lot of overseas manufactured windows, building products, sinks, things like that.
So I don't have any problem necessarily with stuff being manufactured overseas. There's very little manufacturing in Australia, and that's you know, because our lifestyle is so good and our living conditions are so good. But they must comply with the Australian standards, and I think that the fact that they can be imported and be non-compliant is wrong. You know, the European stuff, the Porsche and all the other things, they all comply. So you can buy all these products, all the German tapper and all that. It's all, you know, high quality stuff. They all comply with Australia. So the fact that this cheap stuff can hit the market, and then people can buy it and say, here, put it in, and then it fails, or it's difficult to fit because it doesn't comply, or it's not compatible, causes industry issues. It causes disputes and all those type of things. You know, it all of a sudden becomes the tradesman's problem that it's not working. And that it's not compatible, or his efforts to make it compatible haven't fully worked, and then all of a sudden it's his fault. You know, and whereas if it were not allowed to hit the shores, well, then that wouldn't be a problem. So I think it's a very complex set of circumstances within our industry at the moment that allow for, I suppose, the undermining of the profession itself.
I can't really see much passion from our future generation of carpenters because no emphasis is put on them and professionalism in the workplace. Everything's about cost.
Correct. I think that, and I see it in my students, that there's less fire in the belly for what they're doing than there was even 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm not sure, I haven't fully identified yet where that lack of enthusiasm or the apathy is coming from. I can guess that maybe it's lack of sort of community credibility, that they're not sort of revered like they once were. You know, they don't wear it
as a badge of honour.
A badge of honour anymore. Whereas they once did. You know, I was always proud to say people, well, what I did, sort of thing. You know, and these days I always say, you know, carpenter by trade, builder by profession, or a teacher by profession. But I still remain that is my roots, is my apprenticeship.
Good one.
And that's allowed me to make many different things over the years, not just houses, but almost anything I wanted to, I've been able to make.
You say that, and I hear that you've made a violin. Is that true?
Yes, that's
Have
true.
you got that here?
Yeah, it's over here.
Wow.
In sunshine.
And
so grab it. It's
how light is
robust,
it? It is very light.
So the top of it was skirting boards out of a 100-plus-year-old house in
Red cedar?
in Sunshine. It's or red pine.
Oh, red pine.
And the hardwood components, which is the sides and the back.
Yep.
That's African mahogany, and that was
wow.
left over from a piece of furniture that I made when I was 20.
Just have a look at this. Look at the beadwork that's even been put into this. That is amazing. And did you hand carve this as well?
That's all handmade.
That is amazing. And these are timber as well.
Yeah, that's ebony.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
How long did that take you to make?
Look, I made it over a number of years. It was actually
okay.
a project that I'd sort of pick up, and I'd do some work on it, and then I'd put it down for a while. You know, I did it when my kids were young, and so I wasn't always able to spend time making it. So it probably took me a couple of years.
Can you play it?
Off. No. I have had it played for me by a professional.
And how did he say it sounded?
He said, yeah, good. He's extraordinary.
Because I was listening to the tone of the timber. It sounds beautiful.
Well, that was one thing that they said. They had said that everyone that's played it have said it's got a very mellow sound to it.
Beautiful.
Which is more suited or more aligned with a viola, which is about a half an inch longer than a traditional violin size.
Right.
But nevertheless, they said it was a good instrument. So
wow.
I was happy.
Yeah.
Well, look, I just have the view that if your skills are good, you can apply them to anything.
Okay.
And really it was just a case of, well, I was confident in my skills, I just didn't know how they went together.
Okay.
So I got a set of plans, and then I went and spoke to a bloke who makes them.
Okay.
And I said to him, well, what do you think? And he says, well, I think your skills are, amply good enough to be able to make them.
Yeah.
So I'll just, fill in the instructions for you.
How good's that?
And so, a guy at Montserrat actually helped me just with guidance, really.
Okay.
And he strung it for me when I finished.
Yeah, okay. Did he play it?
He was the first person to play it.
Yeah, okay. Have you moved on to any other instruments?
No, I'm going to make a guitar this year.
Okay.
So,
any particular? Flamenco?
It'll be an acoustic
sort
of thing. So
cigar box? Cigar box 4-string?
No, not sure. I'll probably just make a traditional acoustic later this year.
Fantastic.
I've got more material to make another violin, but they're quite time consuming, so it's hard to sort of get everything done.
You're right.
I made a chess set a couple of years ago for my brother.
Did you hand carve it?
I turned and turned the whole thing. So these are the prototypes for the chess set I made my brother. So these are different pawn styles that I was looking at.
Okay.
So I made it as a traditional, what they call a Staunton set, which is based on the shape of the Parthenon.
Okay.
But then I had to sort of refine how I was going to turn them up. And then also the repeatability. You've got to make 16.
Of course.
16 pawns, and multiple. They've all got to look the same, sort of thing.
Different timbers. That looks like hue and pine.
Yeah, hue and pine was for the light coloured.
Yep.
And Jarrah for the.
Jarrah would be a bit hard to turn, wouldn't it?
Oh, it turns pretty good, but it's a little bit. It has a sort of an open grain in the end, so you got to make sure that the tools are sharp.
Okay.
And that, and when you finish it, that you finish it patiently.
Okay.
Sort of thing, so you get the nice shine, so it doesn't scratch. Hue and pine's really good to turn.
Easy. Yeah, and beautiful smell.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Get rid of the fishing rods.
Have you made a fishing rod?
I've made lots of fishing
rods. Have you?
Yeah. There's
wow.
Pure pine handle.
That is beautiful.
Creek rod.
Did you make this back in trade school?
I made it at work. Okay, we all had to have somewhere to put all our tools.
Yep.
And so you had this under your bench normally, or at the end of your bench.
Right.
Because you couldn't always guarantee having a bench with enough storage.
Okay.
So it's got all different compartments in there.
Yeah,
so
rightio.
Layers.
Oh, that's unreal.
And then they come out again.
Oh.
Another couple in there.
What type of timber is that?
The timber
varies.
So it's a lot of it's plywood, but all these drawers are made out of a timber called Dana Mignac, actually.
Dana Mignac.
Which is a
tropical.
Yeah, I think it could be a Malaysian timber.
Yeah, right.
And some of it was also Gelatung as well, which is a Malaysian.
I love your old screwdriver.
Yeah, well, I got that I think from a 16th birthday. A
Wow.
Yankee screwdriver.
How's that?
This is predates battery drills.
That's my granddad used to have one of those. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
They
unreal.
work really good, actually.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. I don't have any Phillips bits for them though.
Okay.
We used to only use brass.
That's amazing.
Then go on the other thing that we've got in here is this.
Oh, wow. That is beautiful. Got some beautiful saws there. Oh, they're all Spear and Jackson?
Those two are Spear and Jackson.
Yep.
That's a Diston, that's a Spear and Jackson. I think this one here, Garlic and Son.
Rightio.
Thanks. Yeah. This is a plane that I rescued.
Oh, wow.
And I think it probably originally was
It's a high angle.
homemade.
Right.
And this is it's a steep angle plane for finishing.
Right.
So it was modelled on what's called a Norris plane, and they offer doing planing end grain or very gnarly grains.
Yeah, rightio.
And so I made all the handle and everything for it. So somebody gave me the body.
Oh,
And
okay.
and then it had the cap iron on it,
Right.
and the rest of it I made.
With the brass.
So I had this made by
Okay.
one of my apprentice counterparts in the engineering.
Yeah, rightio.
Right, so that's got a left-hand thread inside a right-hand thread. So when you turn it, it moves in.
Yeah, rightio.
And so I got hold of an original and found out what made them work, and then I made the handle.
That is
and everything.
unreal.
So it's quite a good plane to use.
And you handmade this, obviously,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
handle, which is
Yeah,
what, oak?
That's acacia.
Acacia.
Yeah.
That is gorgeous. Got a lot of weight to it.
Yeah, it's very heavy. It's a very good plane for sort of finishing very difficult grain.
Okay.
So I've got the big old number 6 here.
Oh, haven't
So-
used one of these for years.
So joining plane.
Have you made a table with this?
I've made lots of tables.
Oh, of
Well,
course.
my house has plenty of tables in
Oh,
there.
yeah, right.
Yeah. So
And these are planes that you've actually been buying, as you were saying before, that
Once a
stretch
week.
over one every week.
well, I did the same with my chisels. I got all Barco chisels,
Oh, wow.
shark beam. So Swedish, high quality.
That's amazing.
And yeah, that's worth a fortune these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those for years.
So yeah, they're beautiful
Top
chisels.
quality.
Yeah.
Top, like you've just left it in perfect condition.
All my carving tools. So that's all the feel.
And they're all Swiss made. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yep.
So yeah, I just sort of collected stuff along the way. I still like buying tools.
Do you ever go to markets and stuff and find all of the second-hand ones? You were just talking about that other plane.
Yeah.
And you kind of fix them up a little bit. And
Yeah, sometimes I used to have a whole bunch of wooden planes, but I donated them all to a men's shed.
Oh, yep.
So all the old-fashioned wood planes, and then
Okay.
I end up just give them to a men's shed, and they can restore
Fix
them
them
and
up.
play with them.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you very much for your time,
That's all
Rob.
right. No
I
worries.
really appreciate it, mate. It's been great talking to you.
No problem.
If there is one piece of advice you could give the future apprentices of today, what would it be?
To love what you do.
Okay.
Okay. Get some passion about it.
Yep.
And sort of make something.
Yep.
And love what you make.
Yeah, okay.
That's the thing. I love what I make, and I love making stuff.
Yeah, good.
That's what I do.
Nice bit. Yeah.
No worries.
Thanks again.
Not a problem.
Thanks everybody for watching. You got any questions or queries, please flick them over. Until then, stay unreal, banana peel, and thanks for watching.